guys, welcome to episode 2 of Jessi Unhinged. I've got 2 of my best friends with me, Jay and Luke, and we're just going to be talking about some memories and just some random shit. So, yeah, we've known each other, me and Luke have known each other, our whole lives pretty much, haven't we? Yeah. We went primary school together, we've lived just roads across from each other, and then we were talking earlier actually about how we met you, weren't we? But I can't remember how we met, but you guys remember.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of had some mutual friends and then like just hanging around the area being little shits basically.
Yeah, and bumping into each other with strong wear black cans at 14
Oh,
down the canal.
Oh, don't even, that's disgusting. Talking about like memories and stuff of us growing up and that, one thing that like pisses me off still that I even believed you like growing up is like when we were about, the thing is, we weren't even like young kids, we were like actually like 14, 15 years old, but Luke and his cousin made me believe that vampires were a real thing. And literally he'd be like, we've got to go vampire hunting this weekend, I've heard there's loads of vampires that are about and all this. I'd be like, shit, like we've got to go, like we've got to get them.
It was my cousin, yeah, he used to like convince us, then he'd be coming to Birmingham, like from London.
He would literally come to Birmingham from London, yeah.
Right, guys, I've read that there's loads of vampires in that abandoned house by yours. We have to make steaks and go and hunt
like,
them.
There's a nest there, there's a vampire nest. And we'd make steaks. The thing is, if we got caught by the police as well on these streets, we had like full-on wooden stakes like this that we'd sharpened up.
I feel like vampire hunting was like a hobby for you and Joel though. Like that's what you always used to do.
We'd hang out in graveyards and everything.
Waiting for vampires.
Waiting
for vampires.
For a vampire to come out. And I'd be like, but for hours we would sit there and I'd be like, when are they coming? Like, where are they? Where's this nest?
Do you know what the funniest thing was though? Like, Joel would actually disappear sometimes, and then he'd come back like with mud on him.
like rolled around.
He'd be like, guys, he got me.
Just pulled that vampire around the corner.
And we'd be like, shit. Like, I just don't understand.
And we'd like run out the cemetery, like we weren't even fighting vampires.
We'd call your mum, wouldn't we? We'd be like, Rach, pick us up. The vampires are out. We thought we could handle it.
You've never lost that love for vampires though.
No, I haven't. It's like gone into like all my TV shows and books.
Thank God you're not vampire hunting now though.
Oh my God.
I know. I'd need to section in if I was. I'd expect to be sectioned if I was.
Yeah, because we would be sat there doing like chants in the park and stuff, and to be fair, like it's probably why we didn't have a lot of other friends. Because we were.
Maybe that's why we all like got on so well, because we're all a bit weird. Because I used to do weird stuff as well.
Literally.
My friend convinced me once that she was part of Hogwarts and she was going to come and collect me at 12 o'clock on her broom. Yeah, and I literally waited up for her to come get me. She never came.
She never turned up.
Did you speak to her again after that?
Yeah, I did speak to her, but I was like...
What was her excuse for not coming?
I can't remember now, but I was like so convinced that she was going to turn up. You would know the person as well.
Would all?
Yeah.
They still there. You used to like... We hung out with some like other lads and stuff from the area, didn't they? And they were quite... Some of them were quite mean, some of the boys and stuff. And I always remember Luke, like, who would like say, I'm going to hex them. And
no, I actually did the one. That one time with... I won't name names, but he was vile. So when I got all this stuff that I'd read out of a witchcraft book, crushed it, it was to like enter someone's dreams, threw it over him, like said the incantation, I was like, watch me in your dreams. And then like 2 days later, we all were playing out and he come up to me like, I'm so sorry, like, please, literally, yeah, every night since you've done that, you've been in my dreams, like, really doing nasty things to me and that.
Yeah, I feel like people are like, oh, don't believe it, but then as soon as you're like, oh, you threaten them with something, then they're like, oh my God, no. So it's like you do obviously have some kind of like slight belief that
he said that I did go into his dreams and that after that. I thought, yes.
He used to be really sick, because I remember you'd get really long sticks and you'd like look up into the sky and walk in circles and do these chants and be like...
That was bullshit. That was just to put bitches like, on edge.
Stop him. I'd be like, I can't, he's too into
that
it
was
now.
After the curse that I'd put, and that was just to be like, remember, don't forget Burr.
Some of the boys were a little bit mean when we were growing up.
They were mean, yeah. They were.
But I feel like it was, I don't think they did it like with that intention. It was just like young boys,
just
isn't it?
boys being boys.
Do you know what I can say about some of the meaner lads that used to come out, which makes me think like they weren't that horrible, is obviously around our area I was kind of openly gay, but in school I weren't necessarily. and like that was in a completely different area. And there was a few of the lads that would have been known as like the meaner lads kind of stuff that would come down. They'd chill with us, be aware, but then they'd never go back up to my friends at school and be like, oh yeah, did you all know that Luke's gay? Kind of thing. Like it was never a thing of that.
I feel like everyone was quite accepting of you anyway, like in the area.
But you were like 6 foot odd on the rowing team, like hench. You did beat up a lot of them. You beat up a lot of them when we were younger, so they kind of shut up after a bit, didn't you? But yeah, one thing as well I wrote down. Do you remember when we was about 8 and there was like a little alley around the back of our shop? Our spa in the area, and we used to go and hide down there all the time, and we'd
Light as I've ever seen.
We'd be like, guys, let's try and levitate, and there'd be like well, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us, and we were only 8, and we'd literally
we wouldn't even levitate, like didn't we all used to like rag the person off the ground? Like, that's not levitation. Throw them in the air. But
literally, you're so right. We'd be there.
So silly what you believe, isn't it? Isn't that on the craft?
Yeah.
I thought so.
The fact that we thought that was actually gonna, and I remember the ones, I think you did it, and you was like, guys, I think I've lifted like a shoulders came off or something like that. I was like, no.
Do you know what I'll never forget? When I did the 1, 2, 3 eyes change for me and tried to change my eye colour, and then I was convinced that my eyes were purple. Like I was in the mirror like, oh my god, they're actually purple.
I feel like you've told me this story.
Yeah, I feel like I must have either had a serious mental health problem.
Oh, we definitely like tap.
Or,
no, but I feel like you fully like even now like you have those beliefs. So like as a kid, it's even like stronger, isn't it? Your imagination is even more like wilder. So
like I think it's become my religion kind of thing. But I think you learn as you become older what's fantasy and what's actual. Yeah.
That's the thing. We're sat here laughing about what we were doing as kids, but last night we were all there lying on the floor doing a past life regression and palm reading. Like we're literally doing the same stuff as adults now, just not looking for vampires.
I was a little Indian woman.
Oh, I didn't get any. I fell asleep.
Just as like snoring.
Oh, yeah, I was snoring. I was like, but
I heard the snore a few times.
It's because I was on my back and I was so jet lagged and hungover and that, and I think I was just like, oh.
And at one point, your phone went off. And
and I didn't think it was my phone.
And we had
sat up and looked at me.
Luckily, I'm quite good at meditation. I can come in and out because I've done it since I was young.
I'm terrible. I'm literally terrible for it. So I was going to talk about, because I know you two know about this because we've like spoke about this before, but every time I try and mention it to other people, no one seems to. Everyone thinks I'm making it up and it's like a legit thing. So I feel like we need to speak more on how dolphins rape people.
But did I tell you about that?
Yes,
Dolphin rape.
I don't like this conversation.
True, yeah.
No, and I get that, but
Google
we need to talk about it
a lot. I don't like the thought of it.
Google it, yeah, and they're known as the sexual predators of the sea. They're rapists.
They are.
I ain't got time.
Lots of people have said it to me, but
I'm not
I just
swimming with
like
no dolphin. To be honest, I'm not swimming with any fish. Goldfish, dolphin, shark.
So I was in the Maldives the other day, and some of the crew I'd warned them already about the dolphins there, and they were like, oh, well, we're going to go and do a dolphin sunset cruise. And I said, well, you lot are a bunch of perverts then, because I don't understand why you willingly go and do that.
Risk it.
Exactly, risk your life like that. And they were like, oh, yeah, and all that. But I was like, right, you don't know about it. So I was trying to tell them. And then, to be fair, there was one of the crew members that was like, oh, yeah, especially if you're on your period, then they really like it.
What?
Yeah, I think pheromones or something.
Oh, my God, that's so weird. I thought, is it like just random like attacks then, or is it like when they build connections?
You've got to think with dolphins, I think they're a bit like humans, because some of them will be out here like saving people and bringing people to shore, and then
because I think they're like nice creatures. That's what I think of them.
I feel like it's probably like humans, isn't it? For every nice human, there's an evil one.
Because kids swim with dolphins and stuff.
Yeah, I've swam with dolphins as a child, and I'm really upset that I didn't have a heads up.
Yeah, because you guys and Joel has said it to me as well. He sends me videos and stuff, and I'm like, please stop it.
What, dolphin rape?
No, but just like cases of people that are like, yeah, they are like sexual predators of the sea, and I'm like, I just ignore it.
They are. I seen one video of a girl sat on like a dock and a dolphin jumped out of the water and started humping her and trying to get her into the sea. And she was like screaming, trying to get away from it. It was my sister that sent me that, like, oh my God, Luke, I believe you now that dolphins are rapists.
Wait, can they live out of water?
I don't know. It like jumped out of the water, was like humping her, trying to get her in the sea, and then it like ended up having to it must have been like, I can't breathe, and got back in.
That's actually horrific. To be honest though, I would never swim in the sea anyway. So.
Oh, I don't even paddle.
Would you rather have a shark attack or a dolphin sexual attack.
I don't want
Do you know
either
what's
of those
funny
things.
is I feel like I'd never be in a situation where I'd have to make that
choose.
decision because I don't get in the sea. No chance.
Do you know what I thought? I wonder if, right, conspiracy theory, imagine, you know how like SeaWorld is so known for like how its pools are really small and
Yeah.
a lot of the creatures be like killing all the trainers and stuff like that. Imagine that was like the prison.
Oh my God.
That
And
they
all
send
the fish
all
in there are like the rapist
evil
fish, the killer
animals,
fish.
and that's why they kill it. And that, but actually, that's why they're more like cells. But it's
That's how I think I'm going to look at the SeaWorld now.
it makes me feel a bit better at night.
I feel like
What,
I'd
to think
feel a
that
bit...
all the nasty fish are like in one place together?
And then that's why they're in such small places. I know it's like
Because
warped,
it's really
but it makes
sad,
me feel...
isn't it? Like all of those
It is
places.
really,
and
really
like the
sad.
Sea Life Centre and all
Yeah.
of them. Like, I do find it heartbreaking to
There was
even
that
it's really
documentary, wasn't there, a couple of years ago about the beluga
beluga whale. I think you told me about that.
Yeah, and it was such a good documentary how they like worked for years and years to get them out of captivity into the wild for the first time ever, and they had to plan it like down to a T. So obviously you got to think they've got to get on like an aircraft and also still be in water. And so it was really good, and it was really like heartwarming to see them at the end. And they were so friendly. They're like kind of ugly but cute at the same time because they're like but they're really nice.
They're cute.
And it was
They're
it was a nice story. So yeah, I don't think that they were rapists.
What's cute? What animal?
I think what are they
A
called?
beluga whale.
Beluga
Is that
whale,
them,
yeah.
the white
You know,
ones?
Yeah,
with
yeah,
They
yeah.
almost look like they're deformed.
Yeah, but
But in
they're
a
so
cute
ugly
way.
that they're cute. You know, a bit like pugs. They're a bit ugly, but they're cute, aren't they?
Oh god.
Bless a pug.
Where are? Ugh. Yeah, talking about at like sea creatures actually, because I saw this video, it was really interesting. Basically, eels, you know, like eels in the sea, they don't know where. They don't know how. Like nobody on the planet knows how they reproduce. So all they know is that I've written it down here. Basically, they've got a reproduction cycle, but whenever that comes in, their reproduction cycle, they all swim to the Bermuda Triangle during monsoon season. And obviously we can't follow them into the Bermuda Triangle during monsoon season. But like even in, I watched, it was on TikTok, I watched this video and they were saying like even the eels in like the aquariums and that, they'll try and kill themselves and stuff because they're trying to get to the Bermuda Triangle and they can't. But nobody knows like how they reproduce or anything like that.
That's really nice that they keep them in the aquarium when they're like, let me out, let me out.
But isn't it weird though?
Yeah, that is so weird. Like, why the Bermuda Triangle?
I don't know.
Do you know, I
I've been
can't
to
even
Bermuda.
fuck with the Bermuda Triangle, to be honest. I find it so terrifying.
When I went to Bermuda,
Do you remember
I
when
was
you went
really
to the Caribbean
scared.
and your dad told me that you were flying over the Bermuda Triangle? I was crying begging
Yeah,
you
he
not
was
to go.
crying. You're not coming
That
was when I
back.
went to Dominica. I have been to Bermuda, and they've got when you go to Bermuda in all like the gift shops and that, it's all like I think I might have got a keyring and it says like I survived the triangle because obviously you have to fly over it to get into Bermuda.
Isn't that like petrifying though? Like even just the thought of it.
It is, but there's a lot of places I think you go over the triangle as well. I'm sure.
I don't want to know.
Oh, I don't want to know.
I actually don't want to know.
I really
I'm
don't
such
wanna
a
know.
nervous flyer anyway, so the thought of that would just top me off, I think. I've been on a plane that's about to take off and they're literally fixing it while I'm on the plane. And I just think,
how old these
It's why I don't
aircrafts
look out
are,
of
though.
windows and that.
no. If I even see the wings slightly tilt, I'm like, oh, my stomach, I'm going to be sick.
Yeah, no, it's
Don't.
no, it does scare me. Stuff like that with planes and stuff.
I remember when the ash cloud hit and I got grounded in New York. I was there for my 16th birthday and we were the first flight out of New York. Every little bit of I was thinking, ash is in the engine, I'm dying, I'm not going to make it home, I'm going to miss prom.
I'm going to miss prom. That was your only worry back then. How funny. I'm going to miss prom.
Was that when the ash cloud happened?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Horrific. I was fuming. Now you'd think, oh, I'm buzzing, I'm in New York for longer. At 16, I was livid. I sat there in the apartment the whole time I was there, like, I'm not going anywhere. After, like, obviously I was supposed to have gone home, just reading the Twilight books the whole time.
It's a shame. I bet you kind of regret that now,
Yeah, I
isn't
do.
it?
I
Like,
really
if you
wish I
could
just
go
went out
back.
and experienced the whole of, like, I could have seen even more of New York. But I was like
Well,
a
you can still go again. It's probably better now as an adult anyway.
Yeah, I
isn't
was a
it? Like,
horrible
you can
little
experience
16-year-old.
more.
Going on Thursday actually to New York, funnily enough.
For so many.
I know.
Yeah, not for long though.
Oh, not for long. Just a few days.
Do you
Just
know?
the night.
Do you know what I thought I'll mention just because we were talking about it this morning? It was quite interesting. 'Cause I knew you could do it, but I didn't know there was like a whole website for it. And now I'm like invested in it, like not invested to do it. Well, I don't know, but you were talking about this thing called Write a Prisoner.
Yeah.
And because you was in a loophole last night,
Yeah,
with thinking what prisoner you want to write.
Downloading
Who am I going to choose?
Like, oh, I might buy some stamps for a few dollars and email a few people.
So like, what is it? Is it like a dating app or what?
No. So I was just like looking on. There was like a website, and I looked on there, and it's
called writeaprisoner.com.
Yeah, it's literally Write a Prisoner, and you can like filter it, so you can put like ages, whether they're doing it for like religious purposes, because some people want like a prayer mate or something they call it. And then, yeah, you can just put all these things in, and then, like, whether they're willing to, like, communicate with someone overseas, or if it's just, like, because most of it is, like, the United States. And then obviously you search, and then all these, like, prisoners come up, like, pages and pages, and then it gives you, like, their age, or, like, it's like a profile, like it's almost like a dating profile.
So is it actually honest about the crimes and stuff?
Yeah, so they don't go into too much detail. It would just say like, I don't know, like burglary or possession of a firearm.
I've come across some that have even been like rape and sexual assault and
stuff.
And
and then it says, are they on death row? And like obviously some of them will be like yes, some of them will be no. When I was looking last night, I didn't see any like death row ones, but
see, I feel like I'd only want to do, not from like a weird friend or romantic perspective, but you know, just like, because obviously I've dealt with it from the other side with prisoners and stuff, but I'd like to see like the inside of a mind and that of like what they think.
They were kind of so on the website they obviously like put into like more detail, like they give you a bit of guidance into terms of like what you say to them, like, you know, about sending like pictures, because I was saying like a lot of them, like although they say they're not looking for a romantic relationship, a lot of them are not going to turn it down if it kind of goes that way. So they're just saying, you know, to just be like wary of that, kind of not send like gifts and stuff like that over, and to also not probe them too much about the crimes. That once they get comfortable with you, they're more likely to kind of tell you a little bit more about like what they've been in there for. But I just think I'm the type of person that would get so like probably attached.
Oh my god!
To not necessarily a romantic sense, but just like I don't know. It's just interesting, isn't it? And obviously your friend who you know who's gone down that path.
She really loves her prisoner. She does.
So did she meet him on that website?
Write a Prisoner, yeah. And now she goes to America to see him. She's got a whole shrine of him in her house. She really loves him. That's what I'd end up like probably.
I'd end
up like constantly like, guys, I just need to see him.
Guys, he's changed man now. Oh god, see, I'm not into criminals, but
I think though we are all interested in that mind of a criminal. Like we all love that. We
that's
all
what
do.
I mean. I'd only want to speak to them just out of more like a psychological aspect. Nothing more like I ain't interested in
that's how it
loving
would
a serial killer.
I think that's how it would start for me, and then suddenly I'd be like, oh my god, hun, I've really got feelings.
It was
just a bad boy vibe.
It also said in there to like try not to go for like the ones who it actually says this: do not go for the good-looking prisoners, because they already get so much mail from people.
Oh my god.
So it's better to go for the one. And they were just saying that like you don't really need to like say too much or like be overly nice at stuff, because they're just so grateful to have somebody like write to them, because some of these people have been in there for so long.
It's weird, isn't it? I think if I was going to find one, I think I'd find maybe like a female serial killer.
It'd be so interesting to speak to a female, I think.
Yeah,
because it's more focused on male, isn't
it? Really like love and money and that, don't they? Like whereas I think sometimes, you know, that's what they usually say anyway.
Yeah.
Women obviously don't just go out and murder people on a regs like that. But I find it interesting. Maybe we should like find a serial killer, not necessarily a serial killer, but somebody on there.
It gives you like their name, it tells you what prison they're in, and then it gives you their like prisoner ID, and then you put that into like this like other website that it takes you to, and then it gives you like the options of how you want to communicate with them, whether you want to write to them like by letter or on the app that they use or email or whatever. But I guess it is a bit of it's one of those, isn't it? It's a risk. I was like thinking about it, and then I don't know, something inside me was just like, oh no, maybe it's not a good idea.
And it feels like wrong at the same time.
Yeah,
like you're almost glorifying their crimes in a way.
A little bit,
I mean?
yeah. But it is. I think we all kind of love that kind of inside the mind of like a criminal or.
With prisoner.
Oh, I'm going to America, guys.
Do you know what? I think if you give you enough of a sob story, you could feel really,
I actually
really
think
sorry
that would be my problem. I don't necessarily think it would be like a romantic thing, but I literally feel sorry. I would feel sorry for anyone if they give me a good enough sob story. Yeah. So yeah, I think that would be the risk.
If it's a good enough story, Like, I feel
I'll be like, they're innocent.
I feel like there's some wicked people in the world that have been in the world. If they said enough of it, oh my God, I had a really bad life, this happened, I'm just so sorry for what I've done, Joe. Would be like, come on, everyone, don't you think we should forgive them?
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Which is a good and a bad trait at the same time, but yeah.
Yeah, because obviously some things in there are unforgivable, really.
And it's
aren't
also
they?
like, how would you start that conversation? Like I was thinking about this last night. Like, what would you be like? Hi, how are you? How's things in jail? Like, I don't know.
I'll ask my
yeah, 'cause
friend
they'd
how
be like,
she
why are you
started
in
our convo.
Yeah, like,
But
I don't
how
know
has she
even
got
know.
a shrine? So does he send? They are
He
allowed
sends
to?
us stuff.
Are they allowed to do that?
They must be able
Yeah,
to.
I think it's obviously like everything is read and like monitored before it gets passed on and stuff
But like,
like
there's
that.
stuff
But
that he's made her in jail and that he sends her.
Oh my God! Like what?
Just all sorts, like little picture frames with pictures of him in and stuff.
and she's like fully invested and in love with this guy now, isn't she?
To the point that she almost convinced me to start writing to gay prisoner that he knows.
Oh my
Yeah, so you can
God.
search by like gay, like straight, like there's so many things that you can narrow it down to. It is almost like, it is a bit like a dating app, I guess, but it's not for that purpose, but it
what
feels
would
a bit like that.
inspire people to go, you know what, I want somebody out of prison, because for me that's like the furthest thing I'd want.
I
Do you
don't
know
think
what I
that
mean?
necessarily the people writing to them have that intention to start with, but you know.
Because that's taking like Bad Boy on another level, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
I think you find it all the time, and like with some of the worst killers in the world, like you always get those sick, groupie bitches.
Who was that one that they all used to fancy?
Like,
that
what's
serial
his
killer?
face?
Richard Ramirez.
Richard Ramirez,
Was that the gay
Night
serial
Stalker.
killer?
The Night Stalker.
No, Jeffrey
Oh.
Dahmer was the gay one, but there was people that really fancied him and thought he was nice.
And the one who they did at Ted Bundy, they liked
Yeah,
Ted
people
Bundy.
loved Ted Bundy. There was even some people that was really attracted to Charles Manson.
Ooh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like girls would send like naked pictures
yeah, 'cause he was in, like, a
into
cult.
Richard Ramirez and stuff. Yeah, like he was like people loved
I
him,
think
like
he
they
was
really
putting spells
fancied
on
him.
people, because I don't understand that.
I think it is like bad boy image, but to another extreme,
There's
isn't
liking
it?
a bad boy and then there's liking a serial killer, ain't there?
I think they're just sick people though that are like that go out of their way to pursue these people.
They want to change them. They want to change
Yeah,
them.
and it almost gives them like a bigger ego almost,
Yeah,
isn't
it
it, as
does.
well? Which I think
And they
just
play
makes me
up to the
sick, to be
cameras even
honest.
Because that's what they
more.
said about Dahmer in prison, didn't they? That he was getting really cocky and stuff. And
Yeah,
that,
you
'cause
kind of
people
saw
were
it in
like,
the
yeah.
documentary, didn't you? That he did start to get a little bit like that. It's just, repulsive. Obviously, if you're on the other side of it and you're getting sent the images, obviously that's a different story. But the person actually going out their way to like
To send the
Yeah.
images
pictures,
over, yeah, sick bitch.
or like show their support, like
Talking about dating, everybody, like I kind of asked on my Instagram after the first episode, like what do people want to see and talk about and stuff like that. Everybody wants me to talk about dating life and relationships and all of that. I don't know why. A lot of guys actually wanted me to talk about that, which I thought was...
because they all want to date you.
I was
deep
about to
down.
say they want tips on it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like... I mean, my dating life is pretty much like non-existent. I was dating someone not long ago, and it was really nice actually, because it was like nice. It was the first time I felt like I had a spiritual connection with someone as well. And I know like you two will understand that. A lot of people will probably be like, "What the fuck?" when they're listening to that. But it was really, I don't know. It felt like it was like a deeper level because of that. But we just, for whatever reason, I don't know, couldn't make it work, and I don't know, like once I've stopped dating someone, I feel like I need to take loads of time to heal, and I'd feel like wrong going out now and dating when my heart's with someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like talking to someone and, you know, you still have feelings for someone else or whatever, but it's sad because I think in this world nowadays I'm really stubborn, he's really stubborn clearly, and that's why we're not making it work or whatever. But it's difficult, isn't it? Like we put this front on now, don't we? We'd rather break our own hearts than try and make something and fix something. Like we'd rather just act like we're too cool or whatever, and it's a bit shit, isn't it, really? But
I honestly feel like in those kind of situations that if it was meant to be and that person was as into you or like you were as into them, as like it has to be equal on both sides. And I just think that if it is, then you find a way.
You'd make it work,
if there's that much of an undeniable bond and like
you'd make
love
it
and
work.
like whatever else, I think that no matter what, like, you make it work. But and I just find that a lot of the time it is just excuses
People
that
haven't got
give.
time to put the work in, and I think when it comes to a romantic relationship, people haven't got as much time to put the work into those sort of relationships. They just think it should all be perfect forever. Whereas, like, I feel like even friendships, they're not perfect forever. Like, it takes work to be
100%.
good friends, and, like, you know, to get to a point where you're not really bickering and having arguments and disagreements, and where you can have a nice conversation, it doesn't get heated and things like that. It's effort that you put in, and I think people just haven't got the time for that sort of effort in a relationship.
I think it's just because life has changed as well, and it's like everyone's so busy all of the time, and it's like, for me, I think, when I get home from work in the week, the last thing I want to be doing is like going out, like meeting, dating, and you know, and I think that, like you say, when you've had, like, you finally put yourself out there and things are going well, and then it kind of falls to shit, basically, you just think, like, you don't want to go again. You don't want to start that whole conversation again. And I feel like it's so hard to find people naturally now. Like, it's very rare that people meet in like a normal, like, authentic environment. It is very much like internet, online dating, all of that kind of thing. And I think it's so draining having the same conversations over and over again. What do you do for work? Where do you live? Where are you from? Like, I just think I just can't be bothered.
So
and everybody's version of like dating is different, isn't it? For me, it's like, I always see when I'm seeing someone, it's like the trial period that, like, you know, this is where we learn to trust each other. Like, if I'm dating you, I don't fucking date people. So if I'm dating you, I'm only dating you. I'm not talking to anyone else.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like I'll put all my energy into that one person because I'm trying to invest in this. And then I feel like now people just want to date multiple people, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong or whatever, but then, like, I'm a jealous person, like, I'll admit it, like, I don't want to do that. Like, if I'm dating you, I just want to date you, and if we're going to end up in a relationship, like, this is where we build the trust. So if I can't trust you in the dating period, then I'm never going to invest in you. And I feel like if someone doesn't have my trust, I can't give my best self to them either. And it's just difficult. I feel like people it's all social media and everything. Like, I can't really talk because I'm all over social media and I do whatever, but
yeah, but you're still quite a private person, though. I feel like you're still very humble.
I don't even chat to no one. People think I'm chatting to everyone. I swear to God, it's so annoying. And I'm like, I don't chat to. It's like, for example, I know somebody who's a stripper, and she said to me, she was like, a lot of the time strippers are like the most reserved people in their personal lives because all their job is being out there or whatever. And I feel like with my social media, although I'm out there, I'm not like that in my personal life.
You're not
this is just a face for social media or whatever.
It's just a preconceived thing that people have of other people, I guess, because you are on social media. But I still think that, you are quite a reserved, like, private person. I think you say things when you feel like, you know, you're ready to say it. You don't put everything out there straight away. And I think that's, like, important.
It's just frustrating because I just feel like a massive ick for me is like, but I mean, it's difficult because obviously I'll post bikini photos and stuff like that on social media, but I really hate, like, when I'm dating, if a guy is really, I think at this age, still girl mad. Like, following loads of girls on Instagram, doing all this, liking there's some lads on my Instagram, they like every girl photo I see on my Explore page, they've liked it.
It just reminds you of a horny 16-year-old, doesn't it?
Just grow up. Like, I like guys that are actually, like, not interested in girls at all. Like, they're just focused on their grinds and all of that. And then you just fall into it. Like, then you've met and you think, oh, this is nice. But when guys are there and all they're talking about is girls and this and following every fanny on Instagram, I'm like, oh my, it's such an ick for me.
Yeah, it comes across as really desperate. And then I also think then it's like, even if they did try and speak to you, it's almost like you, straight away, I'm thinking, well, how many other people are you saying this to?
Because you can't trust them.
Yeah, no,
and
absolutely.
You can tell the generic messages that you get sent as well. You're like, how many people have you said that exact same thing to? And how many people has it actually worked on?
Am I the 50th person today? Have I just replied?
And I think going back to what you said at the start as well about, like, how, like, in the dating stage when you first kind of get to know each other, it's almost like they don't want to give you, like, it's like they give you the bare minimum, but it's like, well, if I'm going to actually take this seriously, you need to show me what you would give me in a relationship. But it's almost like people are like, oh, well, we're not together, so, like, why would I do that? But, like, we're never going to be together if you're not willing to show me that you're capable of doing that. You know, I understand that there's, like, limits. I don't expect you to, like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to show me that. I'm not here to build a boyfriend. Like, you either are or you aren't.
But do you know where there's some of an element where I think it's a bit different for boys in that aspect? I think when we were talking earlier about splitting the bill and who pays and, you know, some things like that, I think some lads feel as if some girls and not probably some guy lads videos, so some lads are out there and their only interest is going out and getting a free meal and, you know, getting everything paid for and everything brought for. And I think sometimes you have to show what you bring to the table as well. And like, you're not someone who's just relying on them financially. Like, actually, you've got a life, you've got money, like, you're happy to pay for yourself. And sometimes that can be more attractive to somebody.
Yeah, I don't even think I mean necessarily, like, materialistic, like, buying things for me. Like, I would never expect that. But I just mean just, like, communication, reassurance, like, effort. Do you know what I mean? Like, planning dates and doing things, not just, like, half-assed messages and stuff. But
you're not getting nowhere.
Even a walk in the
yeah.
park. If someone literally said to me, "Could we take a walk in the park and get to know each other?" I'd be like, "That's so cute."
Yeah, it is.
I
don't expect. I'd prefer that, Jess. I would actually prefer that.
I think I'm more because if someone was like to me, "Oh, do you fancy going for a walk in the park?" I'd be thinking, "For what? For you to kill me in the park?"
What
No.
did that go in your head?
I just think I watch too many killer things. Like,
You
you
need
know,
to
too many
stop.
documentaries. Like, it does every interaction with someone, it goes through my head. Like,
They're gonna
am I
murder
gonna
me.
die? Yeah, like, are they gonna kill me?
No, I think it's nice to have, like, I'm very much someone who, on a first date, I don't want to go to a posh, intimate restaurant.
Yeah, same.
What about if we just don't vibe or we don't like each other, and then we're stuck at this table together and it's
Leave.
all
With
a hefty
Whereas
bill.
when you just
Leave.
yeah, if you just go for a quick, like, hour walk around the park or whatever, it's like, you know, it's just a bit more chill. I think it takes the pressure off a little bit. I don't think that first date should be this whole pressure. Like, and we also say to people now that, yeah, we get on, but, like, when we go on this date, like, please don't have this expectation that I'm going to be the love of your life or you're going to be the love of mine. Like, just let's just see how it goes. Like, that's it. And I think that almost is this expectation in the talking stage that when you meet, this is going to go somewhere. So I feel like when it, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what?
Because it's just like a normal kind of thing that happens. But then when you do meet and it's a little bit like, oh, we get on, but maybe more as friends, it's you feel like a bit like,
You just
oh,
gutted, and it's
a little
almost like
bit.
a little rejection then, isn't it? Because I
But,
think you
yeah.
feel like, oh,
But I'm like
is it me? Am I the problem?
I'm like it with other, like, there's been times where I've been into someone and they're not really that into me, or the other way around. Like, it just happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've experienced it as well. But then I've also experienced where I've dated someone and, like, 2-3 weeks into it, suddenly they're like, "Do you believe in love at first sight?"
Oh.
Straight away, I could really like them, yeah. Like, you're saying this within a couple of weeks, and I'm thinking, and then it's like instant ick. Like, no, I don't believe in love at first sight.
Yeah, it's like too much.
really
Not
don't.
with you anyway.
Too much too soon.
Yeah,
isn't
like,
it? Yeah.
it just like, no.
It's
maybe
so hard
maybe
to
at our wedding
navigate.
day, you can say in your vows, like, you were the one person that made me believe love at first sight. But until that day, don't say that shit to me.
Yeah, I think dating is so hard to navigate. And I think from both sides, I think boys and men get a lot of shit, I think, and a bad rep. But it's not always them. Like, girls can
it's
be
not.
just as
No,
bad.
Do you know what? I
yeah,
was
yeah, I
saying it,
agree.
yeah, and being someone who's mainly had, like, female friends in my life, and, like, I hear everyone's conversations about lads, but the majority of some of the women I've known in my life have been just as bad, if not worse, than some of the men.
Yeah, I do
But I think
agree
it's
with
just
that.
more accepted for girls to go, "Oh, men are trash, when I've known so many females
Yeah.
that have been just as bad, if not worse, and hide behind the fact that they're a female to get away with some of the bad behaviours.
I don't think anyone's in it. I think they can both be as bad. I feel like with me, I'm just old soul. Like we were saying about our nans. Like,
Yeah.
I think my nanny met my granddad. Like, he asked her on a date outside the cinema. Like, do you want to come to watch the cinema? And that was it. That was the only man in her life
That's
forever.
what
And I'm
I
like, oh my
want.
god.
And they'd go
yeah.
dancing, like they'd go
Yeah, like
dancing and
table
stuff
ballroom
like
dancing. I
that.
can't
Yeah,
even
it's so
dance,
cute.
but-
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that just what we were saying earlier, like everybody's just so accessible now as well.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, and
Social media.
Yeah, and there's just no kind of it's just everyone is just. That's why, like, I think it's everybody's like paranoid about cheating and stuff, because it's just like
Yeah.
you just don't know. You like
So
literally
easy
a click
to
of a
now,
button
isn't
and you
it?
can be in someone's messages having a conversation with someone else, and it's
Yeah.
just you have to have, like, trust is a huge thing, isn't it? I guess.
See, I feel like I've got a bit of a princess complex because I had a boyfriend when I was like in my early 20s, and he just treated me like a queen. Like, he was lovely. Like, even when we'd argue, and I feel like this is another thing with dating that can push me away really quickly, is I'll watch how we are. If we are, God forbid we argue, but if we argue and I don't like the way they argue, because I don't believe in name calling, saying fuck you and all this and that. I don't like none of that. I don't fight like that.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, look, I'm upset, whatever, or I'll walk away. Like, I don't fight like that. So if people are like that, like, I don't stand for name calling and nasty shit. So that is enough to make me walk away. But he was like really good. Like, even when we'd argue, he was so calm. He was never nasty and like just treated me really, really well. And then I think because that happened from such a young age, my standards were set so
Yeah.
high at such a young age. So like now I think I really struggle with dating because it's like I've been shown how
What you can
I
get
deserve
and
to
how
be
people
treated.
can
so
treat
like
you,
now
yeah.
like it's hard to find that again. It's really hard to find.
Yeah, no, I resonate with that a little
Yeah.
bit.
I agree
and
as
I think
well.
there's a reason that relationship ended, but there is a reason why you were in that relationship.
100%.
And like obviously you had a positive experience, and I think that's normal to like look for certain traits in another person.
It
Not
is.
necessarily like a personality, but morals and just the way
Yeah.
that you like you say,
Do you know
how they
what?
navigate
It's
a
this-
relationship, how they communicate in an argument
Yeah.
is so true.
It's
If you
reminded me of when I was seeing that last person, and like every time something was said that it weren't liked, it was like blocked. And then 2 days later, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I should have handled it. Like, you're in your 30s, first off. Like, you should be able to have a conversation about something. And, like, you know, when I've read the messages, like, I weren't horrible, I weren't accusatory. Like, do you know, it's just you've not liked what I've said kind of thing. So it's blocked. I can't communicate.
Yeah.
with
See,
you.
that's just narcissism,
Like,
though,
grow
isn't
up,
it?
innit?
Like, I hate that if you're trying to express how you feel to someone that it's upsetting you, and then they call you a narcissist or toxic or something, and I'm like, no, that's narcissism
Yeah, 'cause
behaviour.
you're
I'm trying to
twisting it.
'Cause you're
communicate.
And I've said it in a
Gaslighting,
nice
they're
way.
gaslighting, yeah.
I've said it, you can respond to me, and I'm waiting to listen to what you've got to say. I don't always think I'm right. I think
Yeah.
a lot of the time I welcome people to tell me and change my views on things, to be honest.
It's too much now. Dating put me in therapy. I'm in stage 2 therapy.
Yes, it's why I've been single.
I'm
It's
dating.
why
This
I've been
is
like
why I'm
truly
not
single
doing it.
for like 9 years. I've just like dated a couple of like, you know, short periods of time, but they're all psychopaths.
I mean, I've been
Yeah.
single a while now, but I totally resonate with what you said about your first relationship, and I'm the same now. I think that there was lots of things that weren't right in the relationship, but there was lots of things that were great, and you kind of look for similar attributes, don't you, and like morals and stuff. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
No, not at all, because otherwise you could settle for anything, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'd never want
You
the
could-
same person, of
Oh,
course,
God,
because
no,
there's a
yeah.
reason why it didn't
You
work
split up,
out.
Yeah.
But there's certain things you can take from that relationship,
Yeah.
but there's also certain things you can look at and think, right, that's also what I don't want in my next relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's why when we had the conversation about soulmates, about multiple soulmates, and I said yesterday, I think you can have a soulmate for the moment, and it's because they were supposed to come in your life to teach you a valuable lesson about yourself that
Yeah.
you need to learn before you can move on to the next stage of your life. And then your next soulmate, that could be your soulmate forever, or your soulmate again for the moment to teach you something. And I do believe that.
Oh, yeah, I get what you say. I just find it sad when it don't work out. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you put so much time and effort, and then your heart's involved, your feelings and stuff, and then it don't work out, and you just think, another one.
I think though
Didn't
that we've
work
been
out.
conditioned that because of back in the day, you know, most people like our grandparents would be together till the end of time. Do you know what I mean? But now it's not, because everybody's so accessible all the time. People don't do that. Everyone's looking for the next best thing constantly, I feel.
That's what it is. It's that they're trying to see if there's anybody better.
But I think
That's
that
what it
when
feels
we've been
like.
conditioned to think that we only have one partner, but I don't necessarily think that should always. It's lovely it's horrible. It hurts as like hell, doesn't it, when you break up with somebody, even when you know it's the right thing to do. In fact, I think a nice breakup is almost worse sometimes.
Yeah,
like I
I
want to
agree.
hate you.
I
I
agree.
want to
Yeah,
hate you. When
that's
you
when
can't
couple-
hate
yeah.
them, it's so hurtful because
I agree.
everything in your style is like, you've done this to me, like, but I still.
It's easier to hate, isn't it?
You're meant to be
Yeah.
portrayed by you, like you're portraying yourself,
Yeah,
don't you? Like,
yeah.
I should hate you.
Yeah, definitely. Dating is hard. That's why we're all still single.
Yeah, we're single. I wonder how. Do you
Our
know what?
time will
Most of
come.
my friends are actually single.
I've
A lot
watched
of
so
my
many
good
people
friends
break up
are.
over the last year, and like, I just think, oh man, I don't want that to be me
Oh,
again.
And do you know
But
what? I'm
it-
such a, like, when my last, like, long-term relationship, when we split up, I was, like, a mess for a while. And I think, do I want to be like that again?
Yeah.
Do I want to be sobbing in my bed every night? No.
But it's such a great
don't
feeling
know.
to feel in love. Like, there's no better feeling than that.
But
is
do you know
there?
what? I also think it's a nice feeling where you get to learn, like, a bit of love for yourself as well. And I
Yeah.
think that was something I lacked quite a few years ago. And I think maybe that's why I'm single now, because I've got to the point where I have become happy with who I am as a person, and I
that's
know
important.
myself.
And what
I
you
don't
bring
feel
to
like
the
I'm
table and-
lost, yeah.
That's important. So I've got some facts that I've found. I find interesting. So, according to recent statistics, almost 20% of adults in the US that were born between 1997 and 2004, got Gen Z in brackets. It's 1997 onwards, Gen Z.
I don't know.
Anyway, identify it as LGBT. 20%.
Really? That's
quite
quite high. That is really high.
But do you think that's like a fashionable thing though? Because my little sister, she was telling me in her school at the moment, people are just saying I'm gay, I'm bi, I'm this and that because it's more like of a fashion trend than. Which, if that is the case, that's really bad. That is, because I think that takes it away from people who genuinely.
Or it's just the fact of now there's a younger generation where people don't feel like they have to hide themselves in school. Because I think there's a lot of bi people from our generation that are probably out there that are bi but will never say they're bi still because there's a level of shame to it. I know quite.
We know some.
And I think as well, like when you're in school, like when you're that age, like you don't really have sexual experiences and stuff, so you may think you don't really know who you are, so people may think that, but then I don't know, you may not be, I don't know.
I mean, I've been an aspiring lesbian for a while.
Aspiring.
I am aspiring to be.
And then
one.
when it comes down to sleeping in the bed with somebody, it's please.
Oh, I had a nearly lesbian experience once. One of our friends, she's really hot as well. Like, she's getting better with age, actually.
Fine wine,
I should have probably took her up on that offer. But yeah, did we go on a night out?
We went to Moseley.
We went on a night out and she was flirting with me all night.
You were into
it, Jess. Until it got down to like real shit, and then you're like, no.
On the way back, like, yeah, I'll sleep in your bed, like, letting her straight your hair.
I was flirting with the idea, maybe, and then when I realised, oh shit, this is actually going to happen. I'm actually going to have a lesbian moment. I got really, really scared and I cried.
Yeah, no, she went to the toilet and she was like, please don't make me sleep.
Yeah, and I ended up sleeping in the bed.
Yeah.
And then
you was in my bed, right? You got up in the end, like, fine, and I went to the other side of my bedroom and I got in the other bed.
It's a shame because, like, I want to be an ally. Oh, I am an ally, but I wanted to be in the community.
But she would never have put anything on you anyway. Like, I think it was just a bit of banter, but I think obviously you guys didn't know each other that well at that point.
I think it might have been the first time you met her that night, though.
Yeah.
Aspiring lesbian. I'm an ally. But no, oh God. Maybe before I die.
Was that the night where I got really drunk and we had Chinese?
Yeah, you were literally throwing noodles everywhere.
That's disgusting. So, in China, reincarnation is illegal. You must obtain permission from the government.
To being reincarnated?
But you're dead. How would you do that?
Just don't talk about your past life, hon.
I don't understand.
Oh, they wouldn't be able to do what we did last night.
You couldn't be doing no regression.
I don't understand what that means.
So if you want to come back, Joe, you're going to have to ask the government.
So I've got to go to Rishi and be like, oh.
Rishi, is that the name?
Oh, no, what about in this? What about in this country? You like Rishi? No.
Dude,
you know, if it was in this country,
government?
I'd be like, oh, like Rishi, I want to come back as like, I don't know, a bird or
He'd
something.
be like, oh, let me think about it.
How is he gonna stop me?
Do you know what? In this day and age, it'd be like, that's fine. We're gonna put it through whatever channels. However, there are strikes, so it may take 6 to 9 months.
Yes.
You might not know before you die whether you can come back.
That is
not.
so weird. If that is true,
it is weird. Would you want to come back?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't want to come back now. I've had enough now.
Yeah, no, I don't think I want to come back.
I'm done. I don't want to come back.
Yeah, though, I think, like, because I've done a couple of regressions, past life regressions, and I've, like, seen 2 different past lives, whether it's my imagination or, like, I'm actually seeing this, I believe I've seen them. I think, I probably would come back, especially if I can choose, because some mediums say, like, you choose the life you're going to live.
What if you couldn't?
So you might think, like, oh, you know what, I need to experience what it's like. It sounds weird, but, like, to be an addict so I can learn a lesson in that life. So you live that. The next time you think, right, I'm going to be someone who's, like, really ambitious and you learn a lesson then I'd probably choose.
I don't know. I don't think... Yeah, I feel like a bit like you, Jess. I do with it.
I'm done.
It's
too expensive now to come back.
I'd come back, but I'd come back, yeah, and I'd be birthed by a millionaire.
I don't think I'd ever choose to live
a life of that billionaire vagina. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever want to. I don't think I'd choose like to struggle. Do you know? If you know what I mean.
But then maybe your higher self is like, you need to learn that lesson. I think I've struggled enough in this life.
Yeah.
To be struggling.
This is the
like,
final
I don't need
lesson,
no poverty.
and that is.
I don't need no hardship.
No, I can't. We can't really say that because there's so many people that are like worse off than us.
God,
but like, you know, everybody has
had
their
things
own
that have
troubles
happened, and their
shit,
own traumatic experiences.
So, I don't know how true this is, but it says, according to experts, oral sex may now lead to throat cancer.
What?
Really?
Yeah. Oral sex is the leading risk factor for oropharyngeal cancer, a specific kind of throat cancer that affects the tonsils and back of the throat, according to a British expert. In recent decades, there has been a rapid increase in throat cancer, probably amounting to an epidemic in the West.
What the hell? Is everybody just doing oral all the time all of a sudden or something?
I don't like that.
It's just another excuse not to, isn't it, really?
Do you know what I feel like? That's like, literally you said that and all I heard was Miley Cyrus's lyrics, I can buy myself flowers. Like, I don't need
none
no
of us need to worry about it. We don't date. We don't need to worry about
that
it.
is wild if that is true.
Literally. Do you know what as well? When we were talking about the LGBTQ community and that, I saw a tweet, actually, I've just seen it on here on my phone. Joe Biden tweeted, Ugandan's ban on LGBTQ community will not be taken lightly. I want to urge the president of Uganda to uplift the ban or face economic sanctions.
Was that uplifted?
I don't know.
What was the sanction? Who was it that he was saying
You
this
basically
to?
you'll be put to death, I think it was, if you were gay.
But if
in Uganda?
Yeah.
I
But I
don't
swear
really
it's
know.
been like withdrew now. I swear I seen something like the other day. I didn't read it, but
maybe.
It could be fake or it could be making
As
it
if
up in my head,
Biden is
wishful
making
thinking.
like a stand like that.
Well, the Ugandan president tweeted back 2 laughing faces saying, "We are not scared of you. We are not scared of you. You will do nothing, you idiots. We have Putin."
Let's not talk about him.
We're gonna get cancelled.
Do you know what though? I feel like Biden, he's got big balls. You know the way that I've seen him look into camera, make threat to people.
Yeah, to Putin. He
And
needs to shut
I
up.
actually think, like, what are you gonna do though, bruv? Like, look at ya. You need
He's
a walking frame
he's
near
too
enough.
old
Like,
to be
what are
making
you
those
doing?
kind of threats.
I think it's so entertaining that, or like the day and age we live in, talking about social media and that like now all of the highest people in the world are on Twitter. Like
Trump
cussing each other
started
out.
that trend.
Trump-
didn't he?
Yeah, but
Trump
look what
with,
Trump did. Like, look what happened when all of that shit, when everybody was
When
like
the
storming the
storming of
White
the
House and
Capitol
stuff,
as
and people
well.
like got killed and crushed and all sorts.
That Capitol storm was appalling. That
Yeah.
was.
In 2016, an estimated 1.5 million people took to the streets and protested in Seoul, South Korea, with 25,000 police officers dispatched. There were 0 reported cases of violence on either side. I've actually been to Seoul in South Korea, and they're so nice people, like really, really nice,
I'd love
really
to go to
polite.
Korea.
And I just think that shows you can still stand for what you believe in, innit, and not have to resort to violence. Like, we could never here. Oh, as well, in the 1970s, North Korea ordered 1,000 Volvo cars from Sweden. The cars were shipped out and delivered, but North Korea simply ignored the invoice and refused to pay. Till this day, the bill remains unpaid, making it the largest car theft in history.
Oh my God.
It's quite interesting.
Have
isn't
they
it?
been sent
That's
any other cars
hilarious.
since? Because I swear, if I heard of that, let's say.
Yeah, I
like,
know, yeah, you
what
would
car
never-
was it? Let's say I was Ford, and then they were asking me for card. I'm thinking, oh, how money first, but
Yeah, money.
like, no chance.
I'm guessing they've got no Swedish cars then, or whatever. But yeah. What else have we got? Ants. Oh, I thought this was really cute because I love a little animal fact. Ants nod to each other as they pass.
Oh, that is
That's
so
the cutest
sweet.
thing I've
It's made me
ever
want to
heard.
cry. That's so cute. Like little like, acknowledgement.
With their like their little
Yeah,
leaves on their
Well,
back.
they carry.
It's hard to
Thumbs
where there's
up.
hot.
I think ants are so interesting. Like their
yeah.
nests, just how like strong they are.
I think it's ants that have bit me though. Because
yeah,
there
they're
was
probably like
massive
green
in our-
ants or like red ants.
Yeah.
No, the normal ones are okay, but not flying ones.
Oh no,
I don't
can't
like
do the
anything that
flying
flies.
things.
I don't like anything that swims, anything that flies.
In Texas, it's illegal for any person to own more than 6 dildos.
How are they going to know?
How will they know?
They'll be looking at you.
How will they know?
They're monitoring
Nobody's
your
gonna know.
orders, like online orders and that.
You have to send them to
Right, that is
Yeah.
your 7th dildo this month.
Right, send the police.
Prison.
That's
That
hilarious.
surely can't be right. I don't think that's right.
There is some weird laws though that
There
you'd be
is.
surprised.
Did you say Texas?
It'd have to
I
be
wouldn't
Texas,
be,
wouldn't it?
I wouldn't
It'd have to
be
be Texas,
surprised. It's
yeah.
so conservative,
Every
isn't
time
it?
I do these facts, there's always a Texas one. This one's a nice one. In 2012, a herd of elephants marched for 12 hours to the home of Lawrence Anthony. On the day he died, the herd stayed for 2 days in silence and left. Years before, the formerly violent rogue elephants were destined to be shot, but they were rescued and rehabilitated by Anthony.
Oh,
They're so clever, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're so
I love
clever.
elephants. I could
Yeah.
literally cry thinking about elephants.
I watched this documentary before with like giraffes, and that like a giraffe had like
I love giraffes
I think it was like a
as
David Attenborough one.
They
and
bow.
Yeah, they do, and they all gather.
And
didn't
show
they?
respect. It's like a funeral,
Yeah, it's
literally.
literally like a funeral.
it's
It's
giving me
and me
goosebumps.
too. We're getting
I've
so
seen it
soft
about
in our
monkeys
age.
as well. There was in one where like a baby monkey fell from the
I've
tree
seen
and
that.
died, and like the mum comes down and she's like holding it, like crying, and then like, all the other monkeys like gather around her and they all start like literally like crying in like sadness.
Yeah,
They're
it's
all
so
distraught.
sad, so sad. The more like they've got more emotions and
It's
intelligence
why I
than
don't
anybody gives
understand why
animal,
anyone
like,
could
gives
be
them credit
horrible
for.
to an animal. I really don't get it.
I know, they're so
Yeah.
innocent, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like I weren't a big fan of cats until living with you and having that cat. And
Yeah, not gonna lie, like when I didn't know how I felt about cats either. Like I never hated them, but I've always had dogs, so
yeah,
like
I never hated a cat. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't like your cat, Tabby.
But now I've got my boy.
Oh, Tabby, tell them about the story. I don't think anyone's going to believe this because, like,
Tabby got me jumped by like 9 black cats.
my cat used to be like,
He
he was like a
do you know what,
gangbanger,
yeah, he
weren't
does
he?
what Alex does, yeah. He lays there and he's like, oh, like,
Entices you
like,
in.
come on, give me love. Like,
Yeah. They entice you
and then
in.
you go and then they're
Yeah.
like
He
this,
loved
like,
me.
yeah.
Like, me and him were so close. But he used to fight a lot, and then I think he was trying to earn his respect on the block or something.
Because he
And
was
he
like a
got
little
to
tabby cat, weren't
yeah, he was, and he used
He had
to
a
get
gang
picked
of
on.
friends.
That's what I mean. In the end, he created a gang, and
Like,
then
he was the bad bear, he
like
was.
Was Tabby your cat?
Cat Tabby was my one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the one day we're walking up our road, and
he was doing that.
He was doing that thing because he saw me come in with Luke, and then he was like, "Oh, you know," as if. So I went and stroked him, gave him a cuddle, and then I think you went to go and stroke him, didn't you?
We went to walk off and he was still doing it. And you, well, do you know what? Actually, when I think about it, I feel like you were probably in on it a little bit. Because she was like, oh, I think he wants some love from you. So I went to give him a stroke. And then he went, and then all these cats, yeah, like come flying out from underneath
Back in
cars.
his
There was
Okay.
about 5 cats.
Like
There was
running,
about 5
at
cats.
least. I couldn't have counted them to
No
say
wonder
exactly
you were
how
scared of
many.
cats for
I was
ages,
terrified
yeah,
after
no
that.
wonder.
Like, it was because like I used to think like, do they have like this signal?
To be
like,
honest though,
every man them in the area
with
on
cats,
site.
you have to like approach them in a certain way, and they're only like to be touched in certain
places,
places.
like
Like, yeah, and I feel like if I, even with my own cat, if I come from like an angle from above, like to his head, and he's
They
not
find it
aware,
threatening.
he's like
Okay.
straight away, he's like, swipe. Like you have to kind of let them be like, yeah, okay. But even then, sometimes they have enough, and then they're like.
There was ages, like Alex never ever used to let me give him belly rubs.
No,
now,
but
like,
he
this
loves you so much
this
now.
morning, like he was there and I was like giving him proper belly
That's
rubs.
so
And he was
cute.
really purring.
Yeah, he's your cat as much as mine
He
now.
is
Like
now,
it's
I know.
taken a while to like for him to kind of get. But when Luke comes home from work, if Luke's like in a rush or whatever,
But sometimes
and he's
I'm
not
like, I need
acknowledged
a wee, I
the
need a
cat,
wee.
I'm like, have you said hello to him? Because he's waiting for you, and he literally will sit there and follow Luke around or like
Like
look
this.
really sad until Luke's been like hi.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I
It is,
can't.
isn't it? Then I had my friend's dog that was a bit like that, yeah. And then this one day I'd come in and I was on the phone, didn't acknowledge her dog properly, spoke to her, then I went to say hi to the dog and the dog bit me. Like, really? No, it was really bad. Like, she couldn't even stop it and she was like, get out the room. Like, it was a proper, like, Rottweiler and that. Like, really went mad. I had to go to hospital. It bit me right in. Do you know where the bend of your leg is? Like, its tooth went into my leg. It was horrible.
Yeah, but you said that when she went for you, you obviously screamed,
I
which
really
made it
screamed.
like even worse. She was quite
and
an
I
old dog as
screamed like a
well.
woman as well.
But she used to say that, oh, maybe it's because of like men, but then I remember being in the room on my own with that dog and it was looking at me weird. I was like, get your dog. Get your dog. You know, and it's just
It
got
was
like a weird
horrid, it
look
was
in its
evil.
eye. Yeah, it wasn't a very nice dog.
No, that's not good.
I've
Right.
been bit by a dog a few times though.
I've been bit by a dog, yeah. But to be fair, I think I don't know. It was my granddad's dog, but he used to bite everyone.
I was not either. I used to
Bit
just
everyone.
want to stroke them.
I know.
Good intentions.
Well, most of them are all right though.
Yeah, I'm not like as scared as I was when I was younger. I think that since having my own dog from a puppy,
Yeah.
I feel like
Scrap
it changes your view. No, Leo.
Oh, Leo. Oh,
How
yeah,
have you
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about my little baby
Oh,
Leo?
Leo, yeah. So I thought I'd do the end question. Like what we spoke about earlier. Let's say who should pay the bill then on a first date?
The guy should pay the bill on the first date.
I think,
in the gay community, how does this work as well?
I don't know, to be honest. I think it all depends. Like, I do think there's an element of like whoever asks us you to go on the date. Like, I think you probably should pay. But I also think, you should never turn up somewhere without enough money in your pocket. So if someone says, because you don't know what
100%.
someone's struggle
course,
is.
yeah.
Like, you might meet someone that could go on to be like a partner of a law firm, earning hundreds of thousands a year, and like you've ditched him because he's asked you to split the bill while he's at uni. You know, like different things like that. So I think like there's a mixture, isn't there? Like I'd never go on a date without enough money in my pocket to be able to pay for myself.
I will always offer my half. Do not get me wrong.
And even
but it's a difficult one. I do agree with what you're saying there, and it's not something I don't think I've ever really thought about it that way. But personally, I feel like they should pay the first date, and then I feel like the second, or like if you went out for dinner and then you stayed for drinks after, like of course I'll be like, I'll get us a drink, I'll get us a few rounds. I'm not expecting them to pay for everything, but I just think first date, it's kind of. Well, even if you went for a walk, like we were saying, and you get I'll get the coffees. Like, do you know what I mean? And then the next time, I'll get the coffees or whatever. I think, but I do think
I think
first
that's
date
different. But then I think that's part of the element of some lads where they think this is what girls just want to go out, have a nice meal, pay for nothing, and you know. And
some girls are like that,
but I think sometimes that's a put off for some people. Like
I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like I always offer, and I noticed. Like last time when I went on a date and I offered, he was like really taken back by it. So I don't think that he probably had that a lot with girls. And I'm like, listen, I don't know what your finances are. It wouldn't put me off for a second date because I have done that where I've gone and I've split the bill with someone. I have had that happen, and it wouldn't put me off. But I think in the back of my head, it's like. I do think, like, in the beginning stages, you kind of want to be sort of pursued a bit, don't you? So, like, it's sort of, like, making you feel...
I think there's many ways of pursuing someone without expecting them to pay for
But that's why I think
if that's...
I do feel like if that's the case, then if someone turned around to me and was like, do you want to go for... I'm a little bit struggling at the moment. Do you want to go for a walk and we'll just get a coffee? Like... Yeah, I'd be like, oh God, absolutely. Like, I don't really give this. I've got my own money. Do you know what I mean?
Look,
so I'm good.
To be honest, I've been on dates. I do tend to be the person that will pay. Like,
really?
But I've always been like that, haven't I? Like,
but how do you establish that with two guys though? Like, how would you establish that?
I'm a bit like it. I'm like, I'll get this, don't worry.
Is it more like, because you know sometimes you usually have like one more masculine character and maybe one that's more feminine. Is that like the masculine role takes the bill or what or?
Not necessarily. I don't.
Or is it who arranges the date, or like who, or do you just sort of take it in turns? Like I don't know how that would.
Or do you just kind of like? I guess it depends on you as a person, isn't it?
I'm just that person. Like even with friends, I'm always like, oh, I'll get this round. Like you're quite like it. Me and you sometimes like, I'll get. Do you know like? Very much like that.
That's another thing that we were sort of on about, weren't we, with like friends splitting the bill. I'm always like, you know, I'll just split the bill. Like unless someone's really just had nothing, then I'm like, get your own sort of thing. I always don't care about splitting.
I literally don't care about splitting the bill.
I've been in restaurants though where they've been like,
unless it's
when
ridiculous.
It's like a couple
one
of
friend
pounds,
that we're no longer friends with anymore, that would literally sit there and calculate it down to like, I owe £20 and 2 pence and would pay £20 and 2 pence.
It's ridiculous. I think if you've all had a meal...
there's not been that much difference between what we've all paid. You know when it's like 1 or 2 quid and like actually like for instance there's been times where like I might have paid a bit more than what I've had or you, and it all evens out eventually when
unless it's not like unless it's like ridiculous amounts that you've had more than me, then I'll be like, you know, but if it's like kind of equal and it's just like a £5 here or there, like a tenner here or there, like it's not that big of a deal.
A glass of Coke and everyone else has had a dessert, a starter,
a
main, and like several cocktails. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not splitting your bill.
Yeah.
But when I've like had my fair share, like we did it yesterday. We went for a meal with one of my old managers,
and I'd had like a half a beer that nobody else had, and I was like, oh, I've had like an extra drink, and you guys were like, oh, literally don't, because your meal was a little bit more than mine, so it kind of evens out. Like when it comes to friends, I'm happy to split the bill, and I hate it when people but it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's like some people may not even like have that extra couple of pounds to put. So, but I think that if you're good enough friends that you're going out and you're splitting bills, that you may kind of not like. Do you know what I mean? And
do you know I don't know. Both of us have been in a situation where we've gone for food and one of us haven't had as much money as the other, and it's literally like, don't worry, like.
Yeah.
No one else needs to know anything, but like we'll sort it.
I think it's just unspoken between friends.
Like even
really.
when you put a bit of money in each other, like there've been plenty of times where we've gone places and I've like transferred a bit of money over, or you've transferred money over to me, and I think we and you have probably done it in the past. So like you don't feel like you're the broke friend. But
yeah,
like,
I think
that's what you do for your friends.
everybody goes through like hard times, like, up and down, isn't it, all the time? But I just think like overall, yeah, just split the bloody bill. It's embarrassing.
It is.
It's embarrassing when you're sat at a table with a receipt, like working out to the pound, like just
It is.
pay
That's
the
a
bloody
nick,
bill.
innit? That's a
Yeah,
nick.
I've
It
actually
is.
on my birthday, like remember when I literally walked out the restaurant because I was like, here's what I owe. Do what you like with it.
Yeah, I felt like
yeah,
it
because
as
it was going
well.
on for like half an hour and it was just so embarrassing.
And it was a specific 2 people that were
This
doing
was
it.
like years ago, but like.
Well,
Still.
my cocktail was £7.50, not £8.50. That's what it was. Literally no joke. That is how like pay it
Yeah.
was.
Oh my god.
And it made me think like I'm not going on a meal with you again. Like I've got no time for it.
But yeah, I haven't no issue. Split the bill. It's
Yeah.
just easier. Is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like
Couple
that
of
as
quid
well.
doesn't matter, does it?
Fair enough.
Maths wasn't my strong suit, so.
Right, well that's it then. So, do you want to plug your Instagram or anything?
Do you know what? I don't actually know my Instagram off by
I actually
heart.
think I know yours. Is it LS Bassey?
Yeah.
LS Bassey.
That is it.
Anything
That's
else?
literally
Is
it.
that, is that just
I think
it?
that's just it, yeah.
So if there's any hot boys that want to go follow, you don't want to say yours, do you? No,
Good.
a lot of my friends are like that. And what was mine? Just Jessica X in my personal, and then Jessi Unhinged on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe.